LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant are three of the greatest players ever. But today, none of that matters, as we're taking all three and putting them in the same draft class, with the person winning 3 championships first on their new team being crowned the best player of them all. So with LeBron heading to the Rockets, KD to the Hornets, and Steph Curry to the Chicago Bulls, let their brand new rookie seasons begin.
I went California, private, yeah, years a week, yeah, over Esher, yeah, Line done, yeah, Pimpin' Bun, yeah, Candy done, yeah.
What you just saw was all 3 players dominating as rookies, with each averaging over 20 points per game in their unique styles. And despite all 3 missing the playoffs with their new teams, it would lead way into a productive offseason of training, where Steph and KD would move up from their rookie ratings of an 86 to an 88, and LeBron would have 1 extra point to sit in an 89. So as a result of all of their training, by the time Season 2 came around, all of our stars would lead their new teams into the playoffs. And if we fast forward to Season 3, we'd start to see them send teams home, as Steph, now the 4 seed, would take down Trey's Hawks, KD as the 2nd seed would take down Tatum's Celtics, and last but not least, out west, LeBron would send Victor Wembanyama and his Spurs packing. But eventually, the fun would stop for one of our players, and for KD in particular, it would be him, as immediately he would be sent home by New York in the 2nd round, which could hurt him down the line, as both LeBron and Steph wouldn't be struggling at all, advancing 1 more round to make it into their respective conference finals, which also means there is a chance that we get both Steph and LeBron in the finals. And as far as LeBron goes, he would get the job done by heading into New Orleans and taking the series by winning 4-2. Now advancing to the finals, where he'll await the results of the Eastern Conference Finals, where Steph Curry, as a 3rd-year player and now a 91 overall, would be in a dogfight with Jalen Brunson, with each point guard going back and forth until we'd see a 3-3 tie. Please win so we can see you in the finals against LeBron. But in the end, we wouldn't be getting that matchup just yet, as while one day Steph will progress into MVP form and will go up against LeBron in the finals, he's not ready just yet, and as a result, Game 7 wouldn't be close. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait a while to see Steph and LeBron in the finals. So that means that with New York advancing, we'd see a matchup between them and LeBron as our first finals of our competition. And as a reminder, the first player to 3 titles wins, so there's not much room for error, and every title counts even more. So if you're rooting for LeBron, you should be happy to know that he would take not 1, not 2, but 3 straight games to put the Rockets up 3-0. And while New York would come back in the next 2 to make it 3-2, there's no way LeBron would continue losing and blow the lead, finishing it off in Game 6 to win his first championship and most importantly strike first in our race to 3. But if you're rooting for Steph or KD, don't give up on him just yet, and here's why. In KD's case, he's fortunate enough to play with LaMelo Ball, who's one of the best sidekicks that any of our stars will play with today, which would be best shown by the fact that the Hornets would make it to the 2028 finals up against the reigning champion Rockets and LeBron. But before we see how that goes, don't count Steph out either, as right now he has Zach LaVine by his side, plus an even better players on the way in the future. And that's not to mention that there's going to be a finals Game 7 down the line that goes down to the final moments and the final shot. Play the Chris Smooth music. Oh my god. But that's for later, so let's just focus in on the finals between LeBron James and Kevin Durant, where we would see the defending champs start off the series with a 2-1 lead. But don't give him the championship just yet, because while the Rockets are really good and definitely a contender, LeBron doesn't have a sidekick at the level of LaMelo. So when you combine his talents along with KD's, they would come back and win the next 2 to go up 3-2. Kevin Wayne Durant and LaMelo LaFrance Ball are 1 championship away, or 1 win away from a championship. And while in Game 6, LeBron would keep it close, giving his teammates a chance to tie up the game in the final moments. Jalen Green with the ball. Jalen Green driving left. The pull-up 3! He went for the tie. It's no good. The absence of a true sidekick would be apparent, and this one would end off with KD and LaMelo winning their first championship, with KD specifically tying up LeBron 1-1. Who knows? With such a great teammate by his side, he might win this whole thing. Honestly, just give KD any decent point guard, and good things will happen. But there's still a long way to go. And entering Season 5, KD would be right back in the finals, where he'd be up against the Spurs featuring Victor Wembanyama. And while at first it would appear to be a relatively lighthearted finals and a great opportunity for KD, KD and Wemby have made it to the finals, and they've also made it to the finals as the skinniest duo, opponents, however you want to call it. Somebody get them a sandwich. It would wind up being a disaster for Charlotte and fantastic for LeBron and Steph, because Wemby would thoroughly outplay both KD and LaMelo to take a 3-1 lead. And in Game 4 in Charlotte, he would continue where he left off and eliminate any chance at a Charlotte comeback. And now Wemby's giving KD a taste of his own medicine, so that's crazy how that turns out. And he's about to dunk it, and he sealed it, and this one is over. So in the end, Victor Wembanyama, despite not being the focal point of today's challenge, has taken on a massive role as the spoiler, handing KD his first finals loss and keeping the door wide open for both LeBron and, most importantly, Steph, who's about to get much closer to his first title.
Starting at center at 7 foot 0 inches, number 21, Joel Embiid.
Because in Season 6, the help I was talking about would be on the way, as the Bulls would be scooping up Joel Embiid in free agency to be Steph's sidekick. And while at this point he's about 74 years old and far from his former MVP self, down to an 89 rating, he's still really good and definitely enough to pair up with Steph Curry, who's outperforming both LeBron and KD individually with averages of 30 and 8 to win his first MVP. But that's not all, as both LeBron and KD would be eliminated in the playoffs, with KD specifically being sent home by the new-look Bulls, which means that both Steph Curry and Joel Embiid would be making it to the finals for the first time, where Steph will be in for a polar opposite point guard battle between himself and John Morant for the title. But while I could go on forever about how this one was a back and forth, let me just make it simple. John and Steph would be all tied up 3-3 in the series, but in Game 7, it would be Joel Embiid being the difference and the final piece, showing off his old man game, helping the Bulls take a lead in the fourth, and delivering the dagger that would seal the championship for Chicago. They got the 5-point lead, they got Steph Curry with the ball, they got Steph Curry with the assist, down to his brand new teammate, I should add, Joel Embiid. So just like that, Chicago would be walking away as champions, with both Joel Embiid and Steph Curry now on the board for the first time in their careers, and Steph Curry in particular now tied up with LeBron and Kevin Durant 1-1. We're all tied up. If you didn't make a prediction on who's going to win, I don't know, now would be the time. But with this championship, a very important question now arises. Can Chicago actually keep up this level of success? Because there's one very glaring issue with this team that could come back to bite them later. And it might even affect a Finals Game 7 down the line that will change Steph Curry's career forever. But for now, let's move on to Season 7 and put the spotlight back on LeBron, because right now Houston has a serious problem, as LBJ only has 1 year left on his contract and will hit free agency after this year. So he might be as good as gone. Because despite averaging around 25, 8, and 8 every single year ever since his first title, he keeps losing to the most random of teams. Take the Utah Jazz, for example. Solid squad, but definitely a surprise they'd be taking down the Rockets. So yeah, LeBron's probably leaving in the offseason. But before we find out where he goes, let's focus in on the Eastern Conference Finals, where we would see Kevin Durant and Steph Curry compete for a trip to the NBA Finals. Although this time, compete may be a stretch. As while the Steph Curry and Joel Embiid formula worked out last year, Joel is now at age 37. So when you compare that to LaMelo Ball, who's in the middle of his prime, this one would be over quick, with the Charlotte Hornets now moving on to LA to challenge the Clippers for the title. And while KD would be up against another star wing, Jason Tatum, in his quest to become more like Kobe, has made it onto an LA team. He would be the one yelling out, "We did it," as he and LaMelo have won their second title as a duo, now putting them up even higher in the record books, and just one title away from KD winning this whole thing. But with this season over, we will be seeing a massive team change for Season 8, as LeBron will be declining his player option to become a free agent, which is basically a long way of saying that he's leaving Houston. Now heading down to New Orleans to become a Pelican, bringing hope to fans of a team without a title, and even more hope to his #1 fan.
I honestly feel like if we had more people like LeBron James, we would have world peace.
Money on your head, I get your bankroll. I wake your mammy and your daddy if you ain't know. I pull up acting with that in my raincoat.
And what you just saw was LBJ averaging multiple career highs to average a triple-double and win his first MVP. And that stat boost could be caused by how different the Pelicans are as a team to the Rockets, as their team top to bottom was much more balanced compared to—
Give me a perk, the police pull up, my gun in her purse, the eyes pull up, put him on the shirt. Since we came in this world and we looking for more.